This is RSBANDBupdate, episode 364, recorded Friday, June 8th, 2012. Flipping the Fish. Hello, everybody, and this is the episode of RSBANDBupdate that you've been waiting for the entire week, hopefully, because we got a huge selection of things to talk about this week, and the Get on the Show contest for our anniversary. So, this week we have with us Trekkie.
Hi, guys.
And Shwa, who is an events crew member.
How's it going?
Are you you're content crew. Are you content crew?
Yeah, I'm content crew. Yeah,
right, okay.
And also newspaper, but not so much
anymore. You're not newspaper anymore, no. There was a funny story, everyone, that I think I should tell. Last year when he left the newspaper crew, I messaged him the following month saying I had to strike him because his article wasn't in, but I forgot that he had stepped down.
I remember that. I just saw that. Mr. I was like, I think I quit, but you can still give me the strike if you want to.
Yeah, so anyways, that's Shwa's story. So this week we're here to talk about Fish Flingers, another reworked little activity in RuneScape.
What was it reworked? It was a thing.
What do you mean?
I didn't see anything different from what it was before.
Oh, well, the rewards and stuff are reworked, of course. But, Trekkie, I'd like you to boost that volume up just a bit, take it up to 75%. I think 50 is a bit too low. We were just having some issues with the sound quality from his end this week. But, anyways, Fish Flingers, that's that thing that came out. I think we determined it came out in 2010 or something like that. So essentially what they did here is they made it easier to access, up the XP a bit, and also just made it a bit more accessible in terms of general gameplay. So first off, you're able to access Fish Flingers now through a variety of areas, including the Fishing Guild, Catherby Beach, Shiloh Village, Piscators, Barbarian Village, northwest of Lumbridge, the southeast of the Lumbridge Swamp, southwest of Drainer Village, Burthorpe when tutorial mode is activated, and the docks south of Berg de Rot. So which one did you use?
I went to the Fishing Guild.
Of course. It was
the only one that I knew exactly where it was. So I was in the area anyway, so I thought I'd just wait 5 minutes for it to start.
Yeah, competitions occur every 20 minutes now, compared to they were every hour, I think, before.
I don't know. I never played the update before this update.
So I guess that makes it a little bit easier to access. And rather than 10 entry tickets per week, you can now receive 2 per day. So that's 14 per week in total if you were to break that down. And the reward shop is accessible via any of the fishermen. So let's go for this on 2 perspectives. The first perspective, the rework. So, Trekkie, how did this work from previous?
Basically, they gave you a little hint on what fish likes. As you remember, for fish flingers, there's 3 different variables: the weight, the bait, and the type of hook you're using. It gives you a little idea of what the bait in weight is for one particular spot. So you had to figure out the third one. And basically what happens now is you're rewarded by one helping the person who's trying to reel in the really big fish, and you also get rewards for experience reward for just fishing as is. If you get all 3 right, you have a chance of getting a gigantic fish, which you can, depending on which one weighs the most, how you win first, second, or third place. And those who help you will get some experience points from that too.
Okay. Now, in terms of the experience, do you think that this is a decent thing to try and do, or is it just an annoyance that you might do if you're a bit bored of fishing?
It's a distraction, so leave it as that. It's really not worth it, unless you want the fishing outfit, which if you want an extra 2.5%, by all means go for it. But most people don't care for it anyway.
I think it's kind of nice. The fact that you can't just enter it over and over, is a nice break from the monotony of fishing. I know whenever I've been fishing, I usually log off in like an hour or two because I just get bored. So if there was something like this that I could use to kind of break that monotony, I think it'd be a worthwhile investment, especially if you get more experience than you do actually fishing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking, whether or not it's like kind of, I guess, the not to quote RuneSpan or anything, but in RuneSpan, when the wizard comes, if it's worth going to find that, or just carry on your merry way of fishing whatever you normally fish.
I think it's probably technically worth the time you waste versus the experience you get. I'd say that overall it's probably nothing that great, though.
Yeah, because I remember from the first time I tried this, it really was not that appealing, and it was one of those dead updates. So hopefully with this, they'll be able to revive it and keep people playing Fish Flingers in the coming weeks, because, it's not good to invest time into an update and have it be dead.
Mm-hmm. I know when I was there was a whole lot of people playing it, and everyone almost was just, calling out what the bait and hook and weights you're supposed to be using, trying to help each other out so that everyone could get their max XP and stuff.
That's good.
Because, so hopefully there'll be like a small player base that'll do that.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going on, because maybe there'd be some kind of sub-fishing community that would develop from this or something. I don't know, but the way RuneScape is designed, it just doesn't seem like these things that are built to combat a grind actually end up working.
Yeah.
So I hope it'll work, but if not, well, they tried. Shwa, what did you think going to it from a first timer's perspective?
Going at it as a first timer's perspective, I would hate to see what it looked like before all these improvements. But generally, I had a good time. They kind of spoon-fed you everything. There was a lot of different menus coming up in my game screen. They have now telling me what to do and things like that, and that was kind of annoying. But once I started figuring out what I was doing to get my chops, those started going away, and I could really just get down getting my bearings.
Oh, okay. I see.
Once I started getting going and started getting the fish, I almost got the biggest fish, just shy by a few pounds or whatever kilograms. I don't know what system they use. There are no defining markers for that. It just says 151, so I don't know if that's like grams or ounces or whatever it is.
Well, 151-pound fish would be pretty big, and a 151-kilogram fish would be pretty big too. I think you'd be in the realm of shark or something huge like that. But I've never really fished that much in real life, so I can't comment on the relative size of fishies.
Well, they did say that you need to have other people help you fish it if it's the biggest one. You need at least 2 or 3 people to grab it, so who knows, maybe it was, I don't know, 100, 250 kilograms or something.
How'd that work for you guys, because you need to rely on the other community members to help you?
Doesn't matter, because what happens is most people fish in the same spot anyway, so you end up helping each other regardless. Doesn't matter. Just go in there and say, like, you just have 4 or 5 people in one spot and say, like, hey, what do we need? You need to get grab this, and this. Okay, hey, I got one. Okay, we'll help you. It does it automatically. You don't need to do anything. As long as 3 other people in your spot, you're fine.
That's pretty amazing for RuneScape, but
it doesn't do anything. My little pet peeve with this one is that they included so many new places to get accessibility, Except they're missing one of the most, well-populated fishing spots. Did you
Which
forget
is
about the living rock cavern with all the rock tails there?
right. Didn't
Mmm.
we read something about this in the behind the scenes?
No, it wasn't. Didn't talk about this. They didn't talk about it'll be there. So that's another little thing. Was that well, that is the most populated fishing spot because that's the most profitable one, and yet you guys did not include it in. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I was actually thinking that when I was reading down the list here, so good observation there.
So
That'd be good to throw the diversity into the Living Rock Caverns as well, because that place is busy enough as it is, and it could do with a bit more diversity.
I doubt people will even bother with it anyway. But hey, it's there. But one thing they should also do is just how sometimes NPCs can just call out something and you just see the text. I think that's what they should do as well. Like, only 2 minutes left. Well, maybe they do, and I wasn't paying attention because in the fishing guild, the guy's kind of far away anyway. But it would be nice for them to call out, 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left, something like that. Let's just let you know. Oh, you can come in if you want.
I noticed that at Catherby, I had to sit. Well, I didn't have to sit next to the guy, but I had to sit there and wait for him to teleport me because I had to wait almost 15 minutes. But if I miss that 5-minute window of being transported there, I have to wait another 15 minutes in order to even get teleported back to the place. So I think it'd be good if they had them call out stuff.
Are you allowed to join in progress?
Join in progress?
Sure.
I don't know. So. Didn't try it, but you're allowed to stay there if you get in. So usually people just chit chat for 20 minutes. Which is what everybody does in RS. If if honestly, if you have nothing better to do, you want to just go and just talk to other people. Go to Fish Flame. You can sit there and talk about anything that's happening. Talk about political plots and conspiracy theories in RS. And have a blast. But it's really not much improvement in this. I'm just like. There's nothing changed really for me. I got 99 fishing and I've been there before in the beginning and just nothing. You can skip this.
That's partially why I didn't go this week to check this out, because I know I had a fishing expert and somebody who had never played the minigame before, so we had both sides of this handled, and it looked like the rewards weren't that great. So like we said, the XP is not enough to go out and hunt these things down. So forget about that unless you're just looking to add some diversity to your routine. 2.5% outfit boost. Over time, that's good, but like you said, you have 99 fishing, Trekkie, and there's no point for you to have that. So,
but one little nice thing is that all versions that they just changed is all versions of the tackle box earn as a reward now have a new feature. They can hold a stack of raw fish growing in size. But most people really they just would rather not spend that time getting the tackle box.
Do you have any idea how much raw fish they can hold? Because they can also hold the caramboln vessels, crayfish cages, living minerals, and your fishing outfit.
That will depend on. That would depend on which one. So basically, if you have a beginning one, you can hold 150 baits, pieces of bait, and you can hold about 6 raw fish. To get that all the way up, you can hold 1,000 bait with dirty fish. But let's see what kind of fish.
The highest one, the champions can hold 5 fishing tools, 2 pairs of gloves, and then 3,000 bait. It looks like. I'm not sure how many raw fish it can hold, though.
30.
30?
Raw fish slots, but I don't know if it will work with rocktails, which is why I was like, well, most people will go after rocktails anyway, so you can't really put it in, because that fish is a little iffy if you want to call it a fish at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It just seems like you need 500 medals and almost 2,000 tokens, and it's like, not worth the time.
Okay, so a month from now, Fish Flingers. assuming it was a bit busy when it came out, is it going to be this busy still, or is it going to be another dead piece of content?
That will depend. Well, now you need the champion tackle box to get your completionist cape. So that's gonna stay until they finish it and then never ever do it again, or they'll just be so bored of it that they don't want to bother with it anymore and just leave it as that. But
alrighty,
it'll stay, but mostly because people want the tackle box because they can get the cape.
I'd say there might be a small dedicated fan base for Fish Flingers, but it's not going to be anything that you'll see for any of the more popular mini games.
That's what we were supposed to have for what's it called? Vinesweeper when that came out. It was supposed to be something us farming people could do, and look what that became.
That Minesweeper game thingy.
Yes.
It was actually worse because someone will not be paying attention or don't know how to play Minesweeper, and suddenly they dig at the one square where there's 8 ones around it. Like, don't dig here.
Yeah. Anyways, that's enough about Fish Flingers this week. So I'm going to move us on to a little bit of other tweaks and fixes this week. As you said, the Champion's Tackle Box is now a requirement for the trimmed completionist cape. Lost Fish Flinger rewards can now be reclaimed for free at the Fish Flinger shop or by speaking to any of the fishermen. The graphics found throughout Berthorpe area throughout caves in the Berthorpe area have been improved. Be sure to take a look. And the runic accuracy and sharpshooter auras up to master level are currently on sale for 25% off.
I don't have either of those.
And
yeah,
I just spent mine on the Superior Revenant's Aura, so I'm broke. So I have the highest Rev Aura. Yay!
And what is that? Minus or 9%?
I have no idea. I just know I got the highest one. I didn't bother checking the stats. I was like, hey, I got it. All right, cool.
All right. A few things in the release notes this week. Not that many, in fact. Placing logs on a bonfire has been made smoother. It's no longer possible to complete the lumbering around task outside of the lumberyard. Okay.
Players can no longer shoo away other people's corgis. Didn't know they were doing that, but okay.
That's funny.
It's just Supreme Poison Purge Aura now functions as expected instead of doing nothing. Okay. Poor guy. So
that'd be bad to go into a fight and expect that thing to work, and you end up having nothing going on there.
To be honest, I think most of us either 1 carry the Atom Totem Pole, 2 use the Unicorn, or 3 carry anti-poison pushing.
Oh, the Unicorn clears poison?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, well, there's another reason to use that thing.
Shwa, can you hit him, please?
I could, but it wouldn't do any good.
Can you disconnect his Star Trek cable TV? that would be
that was your fault this week for bringing that up. But moving on to something a little bit more controversial with the community.
Here we go.
The Squeal of Neptune. So, with the Fish Flingers distraction and diversion, Yelps has embarked on an underwater adventure for 1 week only. Yelps will be sharing some of his deep-sea treasure, including a tradable rare fish mask. Plenty of fish prizes await players who spin the Squeal of Neptune. All right. So, what do we all think of this? The fish mask.
Why do you want...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, why do you want to have a fish's head?
Exactly.
Answer me that. Do you... Fish face?
I got one.
It doesn't look good at all compared to any of the other rares that at least, look good as well as being a rare item. I don't know. This one just seemed half-baked. I don't know. I have a lot of choice words about it, but I don't want Shane to have to spend hours and hours editing them out. I don't like the update at all. I think it's a very big turnabout for Jagex. Of course, they've been seen to do a lot of those lately on issues that they say they would never change their stance on.
Okay.
I just see it as a quest for more money, but I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I personally think the fish mask is a great idea. I think it looks hideous, though, but I think it's a great idea in terms of bringing another rare into the game. I think this is finally an admission from Jagex that, yes, the community can indeed handle having rare items floating about in-game, and that adding more of these is not going to be an issue, and people are mature enough to accept that if they weren't on during this time period to get a rare item, then tough luck for them.
Let's see. It goes for the rest of the summer, doesn't it? Except it becomes a rare item on the wheel.
Yeah, that's true. And,
and everything else was like a drop, so it was only out for one day. I think that it's going to be a very, very, very long time before the prices on these masks gets anywhere close to what a rare would actually be, just because it's going to be given out for almost like the whole summer.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that. The price on the GE is, of course, understating as usual, but you can't buy it on the GE for what it says. I tried 2 million, 3 million, 3.1 million, got it for me, and then later on I see on RuneWire somebody bought for 3.3 and later 3.5, so I don't feel so bad about buying for 3.1. So it'll go up eventually, and it's just something you got to hold on to, and it's a fish on your head. I mean, it looks hideous.
Yes.
The bubbles look neat.
Yeah. Bubble breath. But then again, wouldn't you be a fish out of water, and therefore your gills you have to go back in the water anyway? I mean, your mask, you have gills attached to it and all that.
Yeah, it's true. You wouldn't exactly pump out bubbles. It would just be air coming out. Mm-hmm.
You got ugly, those two eyes staring at you the whole time. Those eyes. That's one reason I cannot eat fish. Those eyes. They'll just stare at you like, what did I do to you?
Cut the head off before you eat fish.
Sometimes.
Not all the time.
Well, I mean, like, before you eat any Western kind of fish. I mean, I'm sure you guys have something like that in San Francisco and Chinatown, don't you? Where you can buy live fish and eat them?
Yeah. Still moving, too. Still moving.
Yeah, that's probably...
Then they grab a mallet, whack it in the head, then cut off the head off if you want it.
Yeah, so that's why you're terrified about this. But as I said, it looks hideous, but I mean, it's a good thing to add more rares to the game, I think, because that rare market up top is just so stagnated that it needs a bit of a shock sometimes to rejigger it, because, well, there aren't any rares added.
What I am actually somewhat worried about is someone buying them all or trying to buy, 99% of the market and then suddenly just holding it till it goes up. But
yeah,
again,
and
it's so ugly. I'm wondering who really wanted to spend $1 billion on this thing in the first place.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of thinking maybe I should sell mine when I can get a 4 mil off for it or something. So, just to make a bit of money on it. But then I might be kicking myself like I did with my Santa hat case. But any case.
Shane, how do you think that if they release more rares, like based on the popularity of this one, what if they release like 2 or 3 more next year? How would you feel about that?
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I think that it could probably throw quite a bit of a wrench in the economy with a big influx of new rares coming in.
Yeah, it could, but I mean,
but then in a way, it also.
But that's a true economy, because in real life there are things that not everyone can have, and they're in such a limited amount that it makes sense that there ought to be items like this in game. So
yeah,
I mean, I just think it makes it more real. That's all.
Ooh.
I don't know. That
was a sneeze.
I like seeing these, but I want to see an update that'll take more money out of the game than put something into it.
And that
we need to
really
melt
need
down
that.
some of this gold.
Yeah, and like I said before, when Squeal came out, the ability to purchase spins. Squins. The ability to purchase squins should have been able to be done with RSGP, 1 million GP per spin. I mean, there's people with lots of money who want to get 99 rune crafting or something else and use these lamps. So if you have 300 million GPs lying around and you want to get 99 rune crafting and not do anything before RuneSpan came out, you could just dump all this money into spins and get lamps and use them for your rune crafting XP.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's beside the point. We've hammered that nail on the head for ages and ages. So we just got a few little side community things, and we're actually going to go talk a bit more about the economy in just a moment. So first up, Massively Mobility, MMO Mobility, has a piece about the new RuneScape combat system, specifically featuring the action bar. This is actually out before Jagex showed their action bar in their behind-the-scenes video. So what do you guys think of how this action bar looks? It's essentially going to be the ability to put food or potions on it and just use that without having to go in your inventory.
I'm looking at it on here, and it looks like there's still some kind of... You have the ability to put moves on it as well.
Yep.
I'm looking on the site there. And, I don't know. It just makes it look like RuneScape is every other MMO. Once they put something like that in, WoW, Star Wars: The Old Republic, every single MMO has like this action bar, and I thought that was kind of one of the clever charms of RuneScape, was that it didn't have this combat system that every single one of the other ones used.
Well,
but it looks
that's
like...
the thing. They said the reason they're getting rid of this is because combat is now so dependent on being able to navigate the interface that bringing all this to the forefront will make people more effective, and actually we'll have to choose special abilities rather than just hack and slash, just sit there and,
Yeah.
But then again, it takes away from, the whole idea of combat training in the game where you can just AFK for a while, just put yourself into
exactly.
baby blue dragons for a while and just whack at things until you level up.
Yeah, and this is going to be very interesting when this comes out, because there's lots of people who really, really love their AFK training, and if you're not going to be able to do that, well, they're going to be mad. There's also a whole suite of mechanic changes coming as well. So
let's see what we have here. I think that one, the first one is a teleport spell. Second one, I have no idea what the second one is. Third one, I'm guessing there's someone using staff. Maybe I think the second one might be some water strike. Third one may be turning yourself into maybe a fire strike, or turning yourself to that fire being thingy.
Yeah.
Fourth one looks like the guy is choking. Fifth one looks like goes for the eye. Sixth, I don't know, wind blast. 7 maybe to switch to your melee weapon, and 8 and 9 obviously for potions. But in a way though, they're also, one it has right here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So you're using number pad again. Considering how the game is, do you really want to get rid of 12 things that you cannot type automatically?
It was nice being able to play RuneScape with one hand, but it doesn't look like you'll be able to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to be using one hand on the keyboard, pushing buttons, and then one hand using your mouse.
Yeah, well,
I think it'll be
of age kind
a good
of thing.
update. It'll be different, and it'll take a lot of getting used to.
Mm-hmm. All right. Also...
Well, here's some little thing they were saying here. Challenge will need to be tweaked. Right now, players can safely grind by picking groups of monsters that are just under their level. Same player could spend an entire season just clicking and waiting. If fights became more dynamic and more skilled and more fun, the players may pick more challenging targets. Experience earned will be higher as well, so players will again go for higher level targets with special ability, combat styles, and spellbooks becoming easier to access.
Yeah, see, doesn't that sound like it's getting rid of the whole just AFK train type thing?
But actually, well, here's the thing that I'm thinking of right now. If fight becomes more dynamic, experience earned will be higher as well, so players will again go for higher level targets. So are they also going to do the whole, after you reach a certain level, you stop getting experience from lower levels? Which is a great
that might be interesting.
Which is a very great anti-bot program because it was funny yesterday because I was walking in Taverly and I saw 3 level 60 killing cows. I was like, huh? And they're all wearing full bronze except one of them had a glory amulet on. I was like, why? But they all have full bronze. They all wore the same thing. I was like, okay. I'm guessing this is the members training ground for bots then. I mean, they all dress the same thing, like exactly the same. It can't be a coincidence.
Yeah. So, anyways, nonetheless, it'll be interesting. We'll get more info next week in their behind-the-scenes video. But moving on right now, just a reminder that you can validate your email, and you get extra bank space. You get the cape of validation, a title, and some free XP boosts, so that they're highlighting this week. So if you've not validated your email, you should do that, because that'll make your account more secure.
Huzzah! Or link it. Well, you've been linking to Facebook anyways already with your email.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another episode of Runecast, this time from MCM. So if you're a Runecast watcher, you can head on over and watch that right there. Anyways, that's it for RS updates this week. Moving on right now to, as I mentioned, we're just going to have a little bit of a chat here about the economy and how you can actually use the Grand Exchange to make some money with that. So I sat down with Eric / Rice13 earlier this week, and we had a little discussion about Grand Exchange flipping and how it can be used to make a bit of a profit. So you can have a listen to that right now. Hello, everybody, and this is the 4th edition of RSBAND Update Focus, the little thing that happens once a month where we go into something in-depth, RuneScape related, to give you a bit more info of how it works. And this month, we're going to be covering Grand Exchange flipping, and in order to discuss that, we've got somebody that has been around the community for a while. His name is Rice13, or Eric.
Hey, guys.
So he's just going to be briefing us on what exactly flipping is and how it works, and how you can use the Grand Exchange to make profit overnight without doing anything aside from entering in a few different values. So a bit of background on Eric first. He used to be quite into flipping. I'm not sure if you've been doing it recently or not to the levels that you were doing it last year.
Yeah, not quite as much. I bought a white party hat recently, so I haven't had that much money to do it with, but I've still been doing it.
All right. So tell us the idea, the core idea behind Grand Exchange flipping.
So I guess you could just say the main idea of flipping is just buying items off the GE and selling them back for a higher price, making a profit. And the nice thing, like you said, about flipping is being able to make money while you're away from the Grand Exchange, whether you be training or, even logged out of the game itself.
Okay. Now, before we get into further things like this, one thing I do kind of want to expand on with this is kind of an extension of the way things used to be done before the Grand Exchange would come out, except we would have to do them manually. You'd have to track all the prices. You wouldn't have a guide price, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
You'd say it's probably got a lot easier since the Grand Exchange came out in 2007?
Yeah, much easier. A lot better than standing around in the Valley Garden talking all day.
Yeah, trying to find somebody who will sell you something at a certain price or take your items for a little bit higher than you want. So that's the essential idea of flipping, is to just take an item, buy it at a lower price, and sell it at a somewhat higher price. And now this all comes into working the Grand Exchange. So let's just go through a few Grand Exchange mechanics before we get into some kind of short-term flipping and other types of flipping as well. So tell us what we need to know about the Grand Exchange first off.
So I guess the main thing to know about the Grand Exchange is the limits. A limit is the quantity of an item you can buy every 4 hours.
Every 4 hours you can buy a certain amount of an item. So I think the amount for battle stabs is 100 each, if I remember correctly, just to cite an example.
Right. And let's say, I think raw fish is like 20K. Cooked fish is 10K. Logs and runes are 25K per 4 hours. What else? So every item has a different limit associated with it.
And I'd imagine these do play a kind of a major role in how your flipping works, right?
Right. Very much so.
Okay. So also with these limits, they recently updated it to make it a little bit harder to flip. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. So prior to an update about a month or two ago, you were able to reset limits by selling the item back through the Grand Exchange in which you just bought. So let's say, for example, you bought 10K Dragon Bones, which is the limit per 4 hours. And you could sell back any quantity of those bones you had just bought and be able to buy them back before the 4 hours are up. That's because selling the Dragon Bones reset the limit. But with this new update, you're unable to reset the limit.
Okay, and now with regard to flipping, do you feel that handicaps you at all, or is it not that big of a deal?
It handicaps you somewhat just because you're not able to flip as much of the same item. You have to continuously switch items because you can only get your limit once every 4 hours. So once you've bought your limit and sold it back, you have to move on to a new item until the 4 hours are up.
Okay, and to clarify, do the limits exist for just buying the items or for selling as well?
Just buying. You can sell as many as you want.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Also with this, prices update in batches, so the entire exchange doesn't update at the same time, right?
Correct.
And
so, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you first.
I was just going to say, it seems that raw materials or items that are continuously being poured through the Grand Exchange get updated more often than, say, spirit shields. Because I noticed, spirit shields like the Elysian Shield and Divine, they only update sometimes, once a week or every other day compared to the raw materials, which update every day.
Okay. So maybe the more rare the item is, the slower it takes to update, or the price just isn't as liquid. So that might also play into determining what you want to choose in your Grand Exchange flipping.
Correct.
All right. So that's a bit about how the Grand Exchange works, aside from what you see when you actually go there and you just use it to buy your next batch of fletching supplies. So moving on from that, types of flipping. We categorize this into short, long, and longer term. So tell us about short term.
Okay, so short term, I guess the goal is to not make a ton of money from one item, but to buy the limit of a variety of items and sell them back right away. So, you want to buy maybe 25,000 blood runes, and then move on to law runes or a different type of raw material.
Okay, and what kind of time frame would this be?
Pretty fast. I mean, I would say within 10 to 20 minutes. If your offers aren't selling by then you decrease the price. So relatively fast.
Okay, so not an overnight flip then?
Correct.
Okay. And so you said raw materials, items in high demand, so law runes, blood runes. I know when we talked about this last year, house tally tablets were in this kind of group. Would that still be an example of an item that would be this kind of flip?
Yeah, just about any item that is of in high demand. So people just continuously buying it for whatever the purpose may be.
And maybe it would also be an item where people could just dump them on the exchange if they get, say, 5 to 10 of them. But you can purchase those for a low price because these people just want to get them, maybe, right?
Right. My example I always use is people go out on the Slayer task and get a few herbs, few bones, and they just come in and, go negative 10 or 5%, negative 5% just to get rid of them quick. And that's when us flippers are able to buy them at a lower price.
Okay, so that's essentially how that works. These are the items that are just always coming in. You just need to put the right price in to grab them at that lower price. Amount of input money, anything that we're talking about here, what's a good range?
I don't know. As far as short-term flipping, you don't really need a lot. I mean, of course, the more you have, the more you're going to make, and the easier it is it's going to be to work with. But you don't need a lot. I mean, you can flip with 50K, you can flip with 500 mil. It's whatever you have.
Okay. Especially for these items that are relatively cheap, you just modify your quantity, I'm guessing.
Right, exactly. But by having a lot of money, you're able to buy the limits. So.
And then maybe, I don't know if this is still possible, but could you end up controlling that item on the exchange if it's a somewhat uncommon item, maybe? I mean, you're not going to do that with a rune or something like that, but...
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Okay. And is there anybody in particular who should do this or should not do this type of flip?
I would say people with smaller banks. I mean, if you have under 50 mil, you should probably stick to short-term flipping. It does require a little attention. You always want to be checking it. So, maybe if you're at the Grand Exchange training Fletching or Crafting or something, you can always be looking at your offers to make sure they're updated.
All right. So now let's take it up a notch to a bit of a longer-term flip. What would be the next step up from a short-term flip?
So I would say a long-term flip would be the time frame of a day or two. The goal here is to try to snipe items at a much lower price. So, having items in overnight at a lower price when less people are buying them, the chances of getting it is going to increase. And then you can sell that back later the next day at a much higher price.
Okay. What type are we looking at here for items?
I don't know. Generally more expensive items. Maybe God War's armor, spirit shields, rares. Basically the most expensive item that you can afford to do.
Okay. So pretty much this is any item that people aren't going to have huge quantities of that can be expensive. So as you said, spirit shields, god swords, rares, maybe something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately the key here is probably the lower demand because there's fewer of them. So that allows you to, as you said, get in and snipe the item where you want it at a lower price, right?
Correct. Especially overnight when people are trying to sell their armor. The buying market's not quite as high at night, so they're going to sell it lower, and that's hopefully when you can snipe it off.
All right. So just to recap, that's about overnight or 1 to 2 days for this, and items that are typically expensive and of lower demand as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So what amount of money is needed for this? Do you just do them one at a time based on, let's say it's an Armadillo Godsword or something like that, or a Spirit Shield, or do you just do as much as you can?
I generally just do as much as I can. I mean, I have a lot of money, so I try to spread it out in between items depending on what's good that day and what's not.
All right, because currently the Armadillo Godsword is at about 20 million GP.
Jeez.
So
I can remember when I think it was over 100 mil.
Oh yeah, 150 I think at some point. Times have changed, haven't they? So as an example of this, you'd probably put in an offer and you'd say that you want, I don't know, how many of these Armadillo Godswords would you do if you were to want to do one of these overnight?
Well, I mean, depending on how you're spreading your items out, I would do as many as you could afford, assuming that's the item you want to flip.
Okay. And overall, just aim for what would be a good margin on an item like this below the market value?
I would say about 500K would be good. You'd be lucky to get a mil, but always aim shorter than higher. You have much more success.
All right, then. And, of course, I assume as an extension from the short-term flips, the players we're targeting for this are people who have a decent amount of cash in their bank. How much?
I would say anything over 20 mil would work. I mean, if you had 20 mil, you could work with some Bandos armor, Armadillo armor, Dragonfire shields. Just you need a little bit of experience. So it's just a step up from the short-term flipping.
All right. And now the longer-term flip, how long are we talking here?
To me, a longer-term flip would be weeks or even months. Long-term flipping to me is actually more of an investment in items that you think are going to rise due to an upcoming update or something. So I always like to read the behind the scenes to see if there's going to be some skill updates. say, for example, a new higher level prayer is coming out, maybe I'll stock up on Dragon Bones, hoping that when the update comes out, the demand will be much higher and thus be able to sell it for more than what I bought.
Okay, so longer term is more like an investment, kind of like a stock market thing, I'd imagine. More risky because you don't know if what you're investing in is going to actually happen or take place.
Exactly. High risk,
Okay.
but often comes with a high reward. But there will be times where you bite the bullet, but that's just how it works.
Okay, and you say items of this kind are future update dependent, so I assume we're not talking anything here like rare items unless we're talking super, super long term.
Correct. Yeah, actually, I bought my white party hat a few months ago for about $2 and it's down to 1.5 bill now. So I'm trying to. If I were you guys, I would stay away from the higher rares. Never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you about that. I remember when you told me that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I guess you don't want to play the rare market with this. So I guess just reading into the crystal ball for future content updates then. Amount of input money. Lots, I imagine.
Yeah, the more you have, the more you're going to make and the more risk you have. But yeah.
Okay. So just to recap on this point then, just an investment in the future based on future updates. Would you say this is the most risky type of investment to make in terms of flipping?
Yeah, I would say so. But, once again, it's got the highest reward coming along with it. So it's worth the risk.
All right. And who should do this?
People who want to take a chance, take a gamble. Maybe if you just have some money laying around you're not doing anything with, might as well invest in something that you think you can make a little bit of profit off of.
Now, would you call this a long-term flip? Just to go a bit off track here. Back in September of 2004, I bought a Santa hat for $400K, and as we know today, yeah, you're laughing about that. It's $86 million.
Yeah. I bet that's a pretty long-term flip.
I know, but the thing is this is my Santa hat, and I'm not selling it. I could, but it's not worth 86 million GP to me right now for that. But this is the kind of thing I guess we could call as a long-term flip if you really wanted to make this kind of investment. But I don't think you could make an investment like that in this day and age anymore.
Yeah, it'd be a gamble. You never know what's going to happen. The market, it's crazy nowadays.
Yeah, in hindsight is 2020, and just to cite further evidence of long-term flips, I bought other Santa hats for around $800K, 1.5, and about 2 mil over a span of a couple of months, and I think I sold them when they were in the 10 to 20 range. And I was kicking myself when they went up past 30, and so I should have just waited a bit longer. But anyways, that was a way to fund Herblore, but that's beside the point. So that's an example of a longer term flip. Then now let's just go through some general rules here to play by. So, what's a pointer that somebody who is just wanting to get started should consider?
I don't know. I just don't go crazy. If you're starting out, do cheap items, kind of get a feel for how flipping works. The more experience you have with the market and how prices flux, the better you're going to do. So if you're just starting, stay low, buy only a few items, kind of get an idea of how it works.
Okay. Also, you say here in your notes to get buying prices from clan chats. What does this exactly mean?
Yeah, if you're doing some of the bigger flips, like Nex Armor, Spirit Shields, or even rare items, there's two major French chats that are pretty handy. One of them is Nex and SS, which obviously stands for Nex Armor and Spirit Shields. So if you just join in there, there's always people giving price updates instantly, so you can kind of get a feel of what the buying price is. And then the other one is our Quirk, which is a clan chat for rares, which is the same thing. They're ran by the same people, so it's pretty nice. They're I don't know. It's people have mixed views on them if they're trying to scam you or whatnot, but I found them pretty helpful.
Okay. So start slow, and if you do end up working with these higher level pieces, use one of these clan chats maybe to get some advice. But of course, buyer beware and use your own gut. Probably, I want to throw in.
Yeah, forums are always nice too to kind of get a general idea of where exactly the item is at, because it's not always going to be where the grand exchange market is. You know, maybe lower, maybe higher. You never know.
Yeah, the Grand Exchange can't adapt quickly to the changes in the economy and whatnot, so the people will know where the price is. Another question I had that I came up with while we were going here was, what's the risk of losing money in this?
What do you mean?
Like, how high is the chance that I go in to do, say, just a couple of short-term flips here and I'll lose money? What's the chance of that happening usually?
I don't know. I mean, it all just depends. Normally, you find a few items that generally work for you. If you're just kind of going in, finding random items, I would suggest, maybe buying only, if it's a raw material, maybe 100, just to kind of get an idea if it really is flippable and how flippable it is. Okay.
There's another pointer there. Just do a test run with a limited set of items. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question regarding to this: is this a viable form of money making over time, or is it just something that you'll end up breaking even on? You think? Like, will you always make money from this, or is there no way to know for sure?
I just know way to know for sure. I mean, you're not always going to make money, but for me, I've been pretty successful. I don't know. I started with about 100 mil, and my bank now is probably 2.5 bill, three bill. So it just depends. Once you get a feel for it, you'll learn what to do, what items are good.
All right. I don't have any other questions for you, so unless you have anything else to add?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, as everyone knows, this will be a part of the RSBNB update episode for the first week of June, as you're listening to this right now. So if you do have any questions regarding this part of the show, you can post them in the topic, and if I see them, I will flag Eric down and get him to come answer your questions regarding this.
Cool. You guys can all PM me too.
So. Oh, yes. Your forum name is Rice13.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. And so thank you, Eric, for joining me for this. And we look forward to seeing your guys' questions if you have any on the topic of flipping.
See you guys. Thanks.
All right, so now that we've had our little chat here with Eric, let's just remember that if you do have an idea for a future segment of RSBNB Update Focus, you can head on over to our website at update.rsbnb.com and click the little link on the side of the page that says Suggestive Foci, and you can just give us all kinds of information about what you'd like to see and preferably a way to contact someone who can do this with us. So that's how we set these episodes of Focus up. So if you have something you'd like to see, just send it in and we'll see what we can do about it. All right, let's move on to questions now. Thanks for listening to this portion of RSBNB Update. You can find the full episode and more at update.rsbnb.com. Also remember to stop by our community and join our forums at rsbnb.com/forums. We look forward to seeing you there.